Things aren't going well so far. Not so good. Craig has let me know that he is stuck in traffic. So I'm sure that he'll be super amped up for a cocktail, and I don't know what else. We'll find out. I've got an echo. I hope you can hear me. Thumbs up if you can. I can't wait for all of you guys. I can't wait for this cocktail. Chris Fasick with Creative Loafing was cool enough to share the recipe on Instagram. And so I decided, yeah, let's make that. It's a blueberry gin and tonic. I'm using another gift from my friends at Purple Brands, Benham's Gin. I guess it's a story for another day, who Mr. Benham was, because I don't know. But we're going to make this. It's 2 ounces of gin, 1 ounce of blueberry simple syrup. See, I'm just going to take this out for now. I'm getting feedback. It's very annoying. So I made the blueberry syrup. All it takes is a half a cup of sugar, 1 cup of water. You boil it down, mix it all together. And then once you're simmering it, you want to put fresh blueberries in there. Don't crush them up. Just let them do their thing. And then you'll put, how much was it? It was the juice of 1 lemon. And I got some great big lemons today at Publix. And that's it. And you've got simple syrup that we'll probably be using to make some blueberry mojitos or something next weekend. And unless I drink all of it. And I saved the blueberries, by the way, for a little compote. I figure I'll put them on some protein pancakes. And I looked for Fever Tree Tonic, which is great, but they didn't have it at Publix. So I'm using this, Navy Hill, in the same kind of fancy bottles. So that's what we're doing. That's what's happening. So who's all here? Show yourselves. Oh, okay. Hey, it's Rob. Rob's here. Are you guys making the same cocktail tonight, Rob? And by the way, Craig Gass, I think it's his real name. Craig said that he would be here maybe about 15, 20 minutes late. I don't know if he's in Seattle where the traffic and the unrest is crazy, but he's a huge Seattle fan, sports fan. I know that he'll have lots to say about that because I didn't want to dirty my shaker too much. I'm going to use my jigger. So again, 2 ounces of gin, and this is supposed to be, it's from Sonoma County. I think they do some aging in some wine barrels, interestingly enough. So yeah, so let's see. Let's see who's here. Rob's here. Oh, Christine, hey, what's up? What are you guys drinking? Are you drinking anything? What are you having? I see that Ian's having some scotch. All right, I got it. Okay, see, now I already forgot. Did I just put in 1 or 2? You guys, okay. Anybody want to tell me? Did you just watch me put in 1 ounce or 2? Did I do that twice? Man, I'll tell you what. I had a few glasses of red wine last night, which, oh, see, I didn't even mean to do that. I'm a little tired today, even though I went to, you're just going to watch me drink, Christine? All the more fun for you. And I have a little Pilates class to go to tomorrow morning, bright and early. So this already has the lemon juice in it. So it's a blueberry simple syrup with the lemon juice in it and a whole lot of gin. Let's find out how I did. Yeah, let's see. Let's see. What did I do? Oh, why did I do that? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Just wanted to mix this up. I tell you, I didn't even pregame for this. This is just what's happening. So you made your original posted blueberry G&T. Just pour more. Okay, yeah. Well, we'll see. I'll be able to tell, right? If it needs a little more, another shake or something. Ooh. See, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to put, because I put ice in this, thinking, oh, I'll have ice all ready to go. So I'm not using the shaker that you and Sam gave me, Rob. So my hands are freezing off. That's fun. Okay, but again, Fever Tree is a great tonic water. I mean, even the organic kind that you can get at Whole Foods, I know is good because it is kind of important. It's kind of important. You're having a cab, Larry. Look at you. You fancy. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that looks like I probably put 3 ounces of gin in it. And it's supposed to have, so 2 ounces of gin, 1 ounce of your blueberry syrup, and then 4 ounces of this. So I barely have enough room for it. And I'm using the big ice cubes. Oh, this looks really pretty though. Fresh mint from my herbs, as Martha Stewart would say, and a little lemon slice. Cheers. Doesn't that look pretty? That looks good. Let's see how it tastes. I'm sure it's terrible. Oh, that's good. That's good. Yum. I think the thing about gin that people like is it is very herbal. I mean, and it could be kind of woody too. Sweet, you bought 2 more shakers for us. How many shakers are at the Sam Robb household? Do tell. Hey, Tommy, how are you? What kind of car are you standing next to? I feel like I should know what that is, but I don't remember. I don't remember what kind of car that is. Craig is great. I met Craig years ago. I think probably when I was at WFLA. I had drinks with him and a friend once afterwards or whatever. And last time I saw him was in Chicago at a radio boot camp that I usually go to, which it's been postponed this year. Sad to say. I love Chicago. I love seeing all my radio friends. Turns out Craig was dating, don't know if he still is, a producer for that. What's it called? It's like has some French guy, and it's a kind of a love call-in show. So anyway, you have 4 or 5 shakers. Good for you. Plenty to go around. Oh, it's a Porsche. Oh, wait. Where was that? Porsche GT. Oh, that's not even what I thought it was. Good on you. That's like a dream car, a Porsche. That's sweet. Although I have to say, like when I walk by the sedan Porsches, I think, why? Why would you get, if you're going to get a Porsche, why would you get a sedan? Like, it's just me. Doesn't make sense to me. Just saying. But, you know, I'm sure that Craig and I will have lots to talk about when it comes to our beloved city of Seattle. Because if you haven't heard, well, there's a certain section of the city that's been taken over by anarchists. And, you know, I went to high school on Capitol Hill where they've taken over like 6 blocks of the city. And it's always been like the fringe society. And I don't necessarily mean that as a bad way. It's also where you're going to find I don't know if it's the original Dick's Drive-In. It's one of them. And it's where Sir Mix-a-Lot filmed The Posse's on Broadway. Yes. And Sir Mix-a-Lot's on radio now too. Wouldn't you know? You just got done filming your cocktail making. We will post one after you're done here. Good. Summer Hudson Winery, if you guys want to follow them on Insta and Facebook. You know, Sam and Rob have gotten into it in quarantine. Your shaker will not stand up anymore. The bottom became rounded. How'd that happen? Do tell. That sounds like a story. Yeah, this is good. I can see drinking way too many of these on any given day. But yeah, what's happening in Capitol Hill, it's just, I don't know, for Seattleites, seriously. I mean, I talked to my brother last night and he was getting pretty amped up. He's the bartender server that works on Queen Anne Hill. Seattle's built on 7 different hills. And yeah, it's kind of a nightmare what's going on there. But at the same time, it's like, they stay over there for the most part. And it's just a little bit on the crazy side. Dick's Deluxe was the bomb back in the day. Dick's Deluxe. You know what? I don't know that I may have had a burger back in the day when we'd had too much to drink, but I remember the fries and the shakes. Well, that's where all the high school kids would go. Like when I was in high school, we would go there and everybody just hangs out because it literally is a drive-in, at least the one in Fremont. I think that's where no, it's on 45th. It's in the University District, you know, near the university. And then there's one on Broadway. Posse's on Broadway, and then there's one on Queen Anne Hill, and I don't know if there's any more than that, to be honest with you, as long as I was there. So let's see. Yeah, okay, got you there. So anyway, Craig should be along perhaps shortly. Again, I don't know if he's stuck in Seattle traffic or where. It's not great anywhere. That was the one good thing about the pandemic, although you didn't go anywhere. In Atlanta, the traffic is horrendous. I tell everyone it takes an hour to go 10 miles all the time. Doesn't really matter where you are. We always hit the one by the UW. Yeah, UW, my arch rival school, having gone to Washington State University. Oh, so that's the thing that happened earlier this week that sort of set me off. Somebody that I've known, I met her like once, I think. And I think she's a nurse or former nurse or something like that. She tagged me in some post about the mainstream media. And I just thought, you know what? And by the way, she didn't do her research because the story that she posted was of a Black police officer being shot in her car after some unrest in New York City 3 years ago. I think she just thought this was a recent thing and nobody cared. I'm like, no, they cared 3 years ago. And in fact, 2 years ago, they named a sign in the Bronx after her. And it just took one quick little Google for me to find that out. I mean, just, before you post stupid shit and tag me in it, please do a little research. Like, use the Google, people. Use the Google is all I ask, okay? Can we make Facebook fun again? I mean, that's one thing I want to talk to Craig about. I'm sure he's got his opinions. Everybody on Facebook is now, a political expert. They are an expert on infectious disease and the spread of infectious disease. Now they're an expert on race relations and what else? I don't know. I'm an amateur when it comes to everything, except maybe radio broadcasting. And I did go to journalism school, the Edward R. Murrow School of Journalism School. And if you don't know who he is, I'm just saying. Somebody, I said that on her post. I said, y'all don't know what a reporter goes through to find information, and you whatever, you think these backdoor channels, whatever, are telling you the truth? Nope. And by the way, all the biggest right-leaning media superstars that are using that mainstream media tag, they are the mainstream media. Newsflash, just saying. Okay, yes, Christine. Yes, please write. I just, it's, the way I look at Facebook, I remember when I went to Ireland over 20 years ago, right? I think it was like 1997 or 98. The proprietor, or I think that would be it, of the house that we stayed at, the bed and breakfast, which were all over, this is way before Airbnb, all over Ireland. And that's usually where you'd stay. He said, you'll be fine in the pubs. Just don't talk about politics or religion. Just keep it PC. I mean, you're among friends. Why can't we do that with Facebook? I mean, if you want to join a political group, great, good, great. But I mean, it's so negative. It is so dang negative. So you're just a scientist and Ed Murrow was a god. Well, I mean, it has been said. I mean, he was the benchmark for trustworthy journalism. And then a lot of other people came. Like one time we had a symposium and Charles Kuralt was there. And I remember I sat in the front row. I was super excited. Remember he used to do that thing on CBS Sunday Morning. It was like On the Road with Charles Kuralt. And he took his RV around the country and he just checked in, did, people of interest stories, things like that. Then when he dies, we find out he had like a whole nother relationship, a whole nother life. He was married for probably 50 years. And he had this other woman for like 20, 30 years. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. I mean, I'm telling you what, I am in Atlanta now, but I'm coming back to Tampa Bay again. I have a third week of furlough to take, which means it's unpaid, although I will get unemployment thanks to my company doing things the right way by their employees, in my humble opinion. So I will be back. I don't know, what do you guys think? So I probably have to work on the 4th of July, but I cannot work on the 5th of July because that's the start of my furlough week. And 5th is the Sunday. I've done my research. I don't know if the traffic would be better or worse if I left on the 4th or if I left on the 5th. I don't know because times are just so different and weird. Good night and good luck. Yes, that was the movie. What was it? George, what is his name? George Clooney. How could I forget that? George starred as my man, Ed Murrow. Yes, he did. Let's see. I never talk politics or religion. No one wins. Amen, Tommy. Everyone has their own opinion. It's like a wine list. Everyone has a choice, right? I mean, the first time in a long time that I had $2 Chuck again, which by the way, now costs $3 at Trader Joe's, was a few years ago. And I remember thinking, God, this is great wine. But then it wasn't so good like the next day after you have too much of it. It's your personal preference. It's a taste. It's not a fact. And, I don't know. Everybody's got an opinion, among other things, as you know how that goes. Leslie! Okay, good. So traffic will be extremely light on the 4th. You can trust me on this one. And I do trust you, girl. How are you? Yes. What are you doing these days exactly, Leslie? I want to know. Because I know you were so good on social media. You used to do our traffic on Channel 8 for so many years, and then you weren't. And I don't know, I think you maybe even started your own media company or something. I'm not sure, but I would love to know what you're doing because, you've made it happen for yourself. And that's what I think the message is lost on a lot of people. I think that you have to just kind of make it work for yourself because they're talking about how many jobs are not coming back. Uh-oh, just notified. Craig is texting. He's like, I just walked in. Okay, let's see. Okay, he's logging in now. Wipe the sweat from your brow, and we can't wait to see you. Okay, so let's see. As soon as I see him pop up in the green room, there's like a waiting room, interestingly enough, on this thing. So Craig is great. He does a ton of impressions, so I'm sure he'll do those. He's awesome. My Facebook history, pictures of cats, and not much else. I mean, not even your cooking, and you're a chef, right? A British chef at that. Which, I have to say, sidebar, what was it? Benny Hill. My older brother used to love watching that on PBS. I was like, I don't get it. British people aren't funny. But of course you are. Of course you are. So anyway, let's see what kind of mood Craig is in after just getting home after he was in traffic for, I'm going to guess, should we take wagers? 45 minutes or so. We have lots to talk to him about. And again, I would like to abstain. No, what's the word? Admonish myself. No, I'm not going to admonish myself. I'm just going to say that I'm not guilty for anything Craig says. Okay. Yeah. Benny Hill equals boobs. I don't get it. See, I don't even get that. Oi. Yeah. On Facebook, it's a must to utilize the unfollow button. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Or just, unfriend sometimes. I'm like, you know what? Had enough of you. Had enough. Yeah, he's dated. What's there's that show. I can't think. He was the original guy. I just can't think of his name right now. He started The Office over there in the UK. And then he also, he has a great new show called, it's on Netflix. I can't remember. It's about how he dealt with or is dealing with the death of his wife from, I think, cancer. And he's brilliant. He really is. But a lot of people hate him because he calls out celebrities, even though he is one. There's Craig. I see you. Let's bring him in. Okay, wait. Ricky Gervais. Yes. My friend, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm great. Yeah, okay, let's see. I'm getting an echo a little bit of myself, Yeah, but how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I don't hear an echo here. Sometimes I do on these streams, but I don't hear one on myself. So.
Well, I'm going to I barely hear you.
Really?
I barely hear you. I mean, I can hear you, but barely.
Does it help
what do you guys think?
My volume? Does that make a difference?
I don't know. I think it's a problem on my end, to be honest with you, because I can kick you from the studio. I can ban you from the studio too.
Good to see you.
That's your goal. Get kicked out of here. Okay, so Rob says same here on the volume. He can't hear you very well.
That's weird.
Can you check your microphone?
It's interesting. I've used this on StreamYard and I've used it on Zoom, and I've never had an issue with
I know.
I don't know.
Well, let's see. Let me see if I can do something.
Okay.
Guess I didn't make you authenticate. I don't know. Crap. This sucks. And again, it could be my issue because I was having issues just trying to get my microphone to work. Okay. So I might just turn that off and pray that there's no echo. Let's see how that works.
Okay.
Can you still hear me?
Oh, I can hear you fine. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So far, it's going really well. How you doing, Craig?
I'm doing good. I've been doing so many Zoom corporate shows and Zoom comedy shows, and it's the only way to really do comedy right now. And Zoom corporate shows are really interesting because when I do a corporate event, somebody hires me to be funny at a company event or something. I usually will do my intel to say, well, how dirty or clean do you want me to be? And tell me about the company. Tell me what's funny about the company or about the people who work there. And sometimes they'll give you, can I curse on this?
Yeah, I don't care.
All right.
I've already told everyone that anything that comes out of my mouth is my responsibility, and they can blame you if they don't like what you say.
You can actually blame me for what comes out of her mouth too. I'll take responsibility for everything.
Okay.
But so they'll give me shit about people that work there, where
like they'll feed you info.
Yeah, they'll say, hey, there's some funny stories about there's a guy named Rob in accounting who got caught watching porn at work. And I'll be like, hey, Rob, I understand you like to masturbate at work. But you're looking right at him and you see his square going, what the fuck? They're not hiding. They're not hiding in the dark in a comedy club or or at a party where you're on a stage and everybody's in the dark, like you're looking right at their face and getting their facial expressions. And like, I understand Sarah was a little bit slutty at the Christmas party, and Sarah's like, my boyfriend's like, it's like,
wow. I'm just shocked people can get away with that stuff anymore, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's supposed to be light and festive, and then the only thing it really comes down to is how dirty or clean do you want me to be? And you hope that they have enough of a sense of humor to trust you to just kind of do whatever you want.
Well, and do you have like a rating scale? Like at a 5, I will only use these words and make fun of people's.
Well, luckily,
how do you do that?
Luckily, nobody's ever told me to be G-rated. So
okay.
They usually say, "Oh, nothing offends us." That's what they usually say. And I can only hope that that's true once I get on there. I remember doing. Go ahead.
Everyone's offended by everything, though. That's the problem these days.
Yeah, younger kids going to comedy shows can pretend like there's some value to their individual pain that they feel like, or their individual sensitivity that they want everybody to acknowledge. And it's silly. But there's and sometimes people will film stuff, put it online, and it could be a comedian trying to figure out how to go through a sensitive subject and try to figure out where the funny is. And it takes time because sometimes it's more offensive than it is funny, and you have to figure out a way to, kind of finesse it,
Yeah.
I remember talking about a dating experience I had with a girl that was really gross. And there was just a gross thing that happened.
I think I've heard this in your act. I feel like I saw this at Side Splitters in Tampa.
Was it about the girl that she overreacted physically?
I don't remember. I just sort of remember I sort of remember you telling a story. I just don't remember what the punchline or the outcome was.
Well, it's just based on a true story. I met this girl. I really liked her. And we're on it, everything's going great. We're clearly attracted to each other. And we end up hooking up at the end of the night. And then she reacted so strongly that everything fell out of her.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah. And so there's, so I had to figure out in the beginning, it was obvious that all the guys thought it was hilarious and most of the women thought it was gross. And then it was like, all right, well, how do I go about this in a sensitive way where I don't want women to be offended by this? So
right.
I slowly started using euphemisms and making it softer and softer. I remember there was one point where instead of graphically describing what happened, I just said she left some change. I think she left some change on the table or something like that. And that seemed to keep more women in it. And then over time it evolves and it grows into something. My ultimate goal is to have everybody. I mean, comedy is at its best when you can get people to go somewhere they might not necessarily want to go, and they trust you to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all see and experience all these things in life that happen, good and bad, and we should be able to discuss it on a comedy stage and try to make jokes about it. So
yes.
By the way, you have not told me. I don't know if there's a specific direction to go in this conversation. I'm just talking about
whatever. I know. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't even know. I noticed you're wearing what was that from Miami? I don't read Roman numerals. I can never remember. I just remember it's like live Miami.
Yeah. It's the Super Bowl. I go to the Super Bowl every year.
Do you really?
And I never go to the game.
Oh,
I never go to the game unless the Seahawks are playing. I'm a huge Seahawks fan, but I go to the Seahawks. I go to the Super Bowl every year, and I film silly stuff with the players from both teams.
Oh, okay.
And I always get a hat from the Super Bowl to put on while I'm interviewing the players. So this is the hat from the most
You're like,
recent Super Bowl.
I go to the Super Bowl every year, and all I got was this dumb hat.
Yeah, exactly. They
don't even, so they pay you to come and interview the players, but you don't actually get to go to the game?
I don't, because I mean, I'd still, even when I go to the game when the Seahawks are in it, I still pay to go, and the face price is, I think it's usually around $1,000 or up to $1,500, or I may have paid $2,000 a ticket at Super Bowl 49 when they played the Patriots, but so I go. So many radio friends are broadcasting from the Super Bowl Media Center, and so I'll get there, and it's a great place to promote. A lot of comedians will go there to promote stuff. I've seen Adam Sandler there, and Chris Rock, Kevin James, Frank Caliendo. And so I'll go every year just to promote. Also, my radio buddies will ask me to come on and do something, especially at the beginning of the week, because at the beginning of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is super slow. And I'm known as a guy who does impressions. I've always been able to do any voice that I hear. So my radio buddies on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday will say, hey, do you mind joining us as somebody famous so it sounds cool back in Boise? I'll go, yeah, sure. And then the only remotely sports person that I can do an impression of is Tom Arnold, who used to be the host of
that's right.
Best Damn Sports Show, period.
That's right.
So every year I will join my sports radio buddies around the country broadcasting the Super Bowl as Tom Arnold for a day or two. And Tom Arnold is a recovering addict and is I will come on and say, hey, it's a lot of fun being here at Super Bowl. And I was at a Cocaine Anonymous meeting last night with Brett Favre. And man, Brett Favre's a big coke. I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but Brett's got a big coke problem. And his sponsor is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem is addicted to upskirt porn. And I'll just start naming any sports person I can think of and team them up with an addiction. And I'll just rattle off names and addictions off the top of my head. And every year, people angrily tweet at Tom Arnold to say, dude, it's supposed to be anonymous. What are you doing? And every year, Tom Arnold fights with everybody on Twitter and says, hey, did you notice that Sam Kinison was there? That guy's been dead for 20 years, you idiot. That's a comedian. His name's, it's not even me, you dumbass. And he fights with everybody. And, it's amazing.
Did Tom know that you were doing this? He must.
Yeah. I feel bad because it's such a funny impression. It's such a funny concept. And, and it gets such a reaction from people. And I feel like I do it in such a cartoonish, over-the-top way that it's like, this is not real. This is so obviously not real. But I've learned that people will believe anything. So.
They will. They are, and they do. Like one of my friends, I just found out tonight, actually, I was listening to a podcast that she was on because she just got fired at, I can't remember, the Bone, but I can't remember the call letters in Tampa. Anna got fired because she and some other guys were calling out different businesses. Like they called out Star Wars, a made up universe, because all these different corporations are feeling like they have to make a statement about racism or coronavirus or whatever. And they just thought, like, Star Wars, where do you stand on this? You know, like you need to speak out about the injustice in this universe. And just one thing led to another. And my girl got in trouble, not even so much for, I think, what she said on Twitter and Instagram, and including, I'll tell you about that too. But I think more so because she clapped back, and she clapped back hard. Like, she was at a comedy show at Side Splitters, and I don't even know who the comedian was, but somebody had a seizure during the show. Okay. And so, an ambulance is called, and she's carted out, and I guess she's fine. And then the comedian picked right back up. They turned the lights back off again, and he picked right up with the show. And she got on Instagram Live at like 2 a.m. and started saying like, that was awesome, you know. And so like 12 hours later, people were not happy. And she, like, they had to give a bunch of free commercials away to, you know, I don't remember what society, but, you know, because they thought she was making fun of people having seizures. And she's like, no, I mean, she's just drunk and whatever. So every Super Bowl on TV. Yes, I'm that old. Every one, Larry. I don't know. Larry comes to every Super Bowl ever. What is it? I mean, it's what, like 50 now? I mean, maybe.
Yeah, 54 was the last one. So that's what live. It's 54. The Roman numerals 54 is the next one. The next one.
Sure.
The next
Show
one,
off, like, you know, Roman numerals. Whatever, dude. Whatever.
Well, you know, Super Bowl 50, they just called it 50. Otherwise, it would have been Super Bowl L. Like L is 50. So
yeah.
So it would have just like, it would have looked like Super Bowl, like, you know, but they called it Super Bowl 50. But
okay, so I don't remember. Are you in Seattle right now, or where are you?
People think I live in Seattle. I haven't lived in Seattle for over 20 years.
Oh, okay.
But I book all my shows around the United States, around Seahawks and Mariners games, because I'm a big Seahawks fan and a big Mariners fan.
Yeah.
And that's how I schedule all my shows. And that's a big reason why I'm not famous. But I am having a lot of fun.
There might be other reasons. I'm just
yeah, there could be. You know,
you're not sleeping with the right people. You're not pissing them off.
Yeah. You know what's funny? There are definitely female casting women. There are females out there that flirt and try to hook up with dudes and give them spots. It's not obviously as common.
Okay, come on. I know a guy would do that too. Let's just
yeah. I mean, it's I mean, obviously it's a much bigger issue that men put that pressure on women, but there are occasional women out there. I know there are definitely some out there who are in a position to give male actors and comedians places to be in movies and films, and they get really flirty, and yeah, it's kind of nutty, but yeah, I wanted to say though about that idea that the girl went on and said, oh my God, this person had a seizure. Like, I don't understand why that would be offensive.
Because people thought she was making fun of the woman having a seizure.
Yeah.
And she may not have articulated herself well enough because she was drunk at 2 a.m. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Social media is dangerous. And I mean, Anna, she's great. And I just saw her a couple of weeks ago. I was back in Tampa Bay on another furlough week. And she's great. It's just, and she needs a platform, which is probably podcasting, where she can say whatever the hell she wants, you know, because radio ain't it. That's it. It's definitely not it. But podcasting might be the future for her. And she's, like I said, I love her. She's great, but she pisses a lot of people off. But I had a boss once that told me, people, if they love you or hate you, you're a star. If they're just like,
agreed.
Who cares? You know.
Yeah, it's the old
that way about.
It's the old Howard Stern thing about the people who love you listen for an hour at a time, and the people who hate you listen for 2.5 hours at a time.
Yeah.
It's the people who hate you want to like listen to hate you. And but yeah, I agree. If people are having some kind of a strong reaction in any direction, it keeps growing your audience for sure. And as a comedian, you know, when you first start out doing stand-up, everything in your mind is like, you feel like you have to do your stand-up like, okay, I'm going to say this, and then I'll make a pivot, and then I'll go into this, and then that'll go into this, and then I'll film that. And if anyone in the audience yells at you or disrupts, it's like you have to put all these pieces together, and it freaks you out if somebody like disrupts that. And the longer you do it, the looser you get with what's going on. And if somebody disrupts it, you can leave your material and then go after whatever they are talking about, and then slowly make your way back to your set. And if you do it long enough, you really do hope that something insane happens in the crowd, a medical seizure, something.
You hope for that, yeah.
You honestly want something very real to happen that you can suspend your entire thing and go, oh my God, what's going on over here? And then and everyone in the room knows this is real. This is totally real. I remember I did a show once in Oklahoma City where the guy who was opening for me, he's on stage and he's doing his set, and you can tell from the back of the room that he's distracted by something going on
right
on the left side of the room. And then he finally stops and he goes, ma'am, am I that ugly that you won't even look me in the face? I mean, she won't even look me in the face. Like, what are you, fucking blind or something? Oh, are you blind? Oh my God. He goes, the whole room freezes like, and then he does the biggest rookie mistake ever. He tries to just go back to his material and he goes, so, you guys ever go to Walmart? And people are like, who cares about Walmart? You just made fun of a blind woman, you son of a bitch. And they're yelling at him. And he's like, I'm sorry. I didn't know. And the whole place is like so angry. And the only people laughing are me and two other comedians in the back of the room.
Yeah.
Because it's so fun. Like, we're laughing at his lack of control. And we've all been there as comedians. We've all been in these positions where it's not going anywhere you expected it to, and you're struggling and you're sweating and you're thinking, how am I going to get out of this? And it's funny to watch other people struggle and sweat because you're like, okay, let's see how you dig out of this one. You know?
I know. Okay, before we go any further, I know people they want to see some of your. Do you have any new impressions? I mean, I don't know if I've heard the Tom Arnold one. I mean, you just did it. Maybe for now I have. Yeah. But like Christopher Walken is a really popular one, and I know. Who's the other guy? And I love him. I asked him if I could be his third wife, and he said no, but now he's gotten divorced a second time. Maybe he'll reconsider. Who's Jay Moore?
Jay Moore.
I asked Jay, I was like, Jay, can I be your third wife? And he's like, no. He does the Christopher Walken thing too. I don't know if he does anymore, but I'm fascinated by that, really. Because somebody asked me recently, can I do impressions? Because I just signed with a new agency here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I can't. Other than, and maybe I'll do it, and I'll tell the story because it happened at WFLA, but it's of the Affleck guy. But anyway, go ahead.
Really? You can do Gilbert Gottfried?
A little bit. Okay, you tell me how I'm doing. This is like the only thing I do. Okay. So when I was working with the two old farts, and they didn't like me anymore, so I wasn't allowed to talk. I had to raise my hand.
Working with who?
Two old farts. I'm not going to name them.
Okay. All right.
Two old farts. That's how I met you. But.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I at some point I had to raise my hand to talk on the show. Literally, I was like,
"Okay,
excuse me, sir, I have something to say. I have my one question with my journalism degree. I would like to ask one question, please, sir, please." And they would like not even look at me. Literally, I was like, God, is that hurting your neck to like always look this way and not? And especially when our other co-host is asleep. But anyway, so Gilbert Gottfried was on our Friday Funnies, that's what they used to call it. Oh, okay. Lord. Where the main host would always ask people, where are you from? And whatever you say, he goes, I've been there. And then the other host would say, what's making people laugh these days? And then most of these guys are like young Black comedians. And who do you think they want to talk to? They're like looking directly at me like, geez, what is going on here? And so, but Gilbert is clearly not a Black guy, young Black guy, or any of the above. But Gilbert comes in, and Gilbert's talking, and I raise my hand, ask my one question, and Gilbert's to my right, and he looks at me and he goes, "You're raising your hand to ask a question?" And I said, "Well, they make me do that to speak around here." And like all of a sudden, I saw my boss come. There was a window behind me. I could just like you can sense stuff. I could see something like flying behind me. And then I saw him in the other studio. And then our producer at some point said, he goes, well, maybe you could just tell people you're stretching or something. And I'm like, come on, like, it's ridiculous. And I mean, I laughed. Gilbert kind of laughed, but he also asked that question again. He goes, do you want to raise your hand to ask another question?
That is hilarious. I love that.
True story. I probably shouldn't have told it, but I'm 1.5 cocktails in. There you go.
I love that you're drinking during this, by the way. I'm curious to see how this is all going to end up with you in rehab.
Well, yeah. I mean, I got to tell you, I just had to order a bar cart. I have like a bar situation with a lot of bottles of wine.
Yeah.
But I just found a fabulous acrylic bar cart on Costco that I had to order because I'm like, it's spilling out onto the floor. People are giving me alcohol now.
Really? Oh
Yes.
man, this is not going to turn out
I
well.
know. Me and Amy Winehouse. Cheers.
Cheers. Here's my my
I don't even-
Starbucks.
Oh
Cheers.
yeah, I know. What did you get there?
I got the caramel ribbon crunch.
Not like a unicorn or
Didn't get
whatever,
the unicorn.
Pacino.
I only do one of these a week, because if I do more than one a week, my pants get tighter, because I just feel myself going.
Yeah.
I just get fatter. But
Lots of sugar.
Voices get stuck in my head, and especially unusual voices. I think I talked like the Tiger King for like 2 weeks.
You can do the Tiger King?
I don't know if I can do the Tiger King. I just love quoting him, because there's watching that documentary, the thing that I found so fascinating is like, how does this guy get two straight men to not only put out for him, but
marry
him? Yeah. And there's one moment in the entire 7-part series where he gives a glimpse and it's I can't wrap my brain around this. He says that he said, I was in the back of the truck, and young kid was with me, and I said, hey, are you gay or are you straight? And he said, oh, I'm straight. And I said, yeah, well, let me ask you something. When you watch porn, you like the big ones or you like the little ones? And he said, oh, I like the big ones. And I said, you ain't that straight then. And I was like, that's it? And that's all you had to do? And then all of a sudden he's like, like,
Lord.
I couldn't wrap my brain around, like.
But I have to say, he's a little bit right.
Yeah, but if that's the only question you need to ask a person to make them go, all right, let's have sex. Like that's just,
well,
like,
I mean, you know how that it goes. It's like power and charisma, and he's got guns, and he hates Carol Baskin.
Yeah, it was so odd to me. I also started watching a lot of YouTube, and I do an impression that doesn't require any voice at all, which is there's this really popular guy I found on YouTube. He's a young black dude who people send old white music to. Like they send him Skinnerd and Rush and like old, like, and heavy metal. And and he listens for the first time. He listens to like he listens to Metallica for the first time, and I think his name's No Life Shack. It's something Shack, and every song he'll be like, all right, so this is my first time listening to some Metallica. He'll put it on, and then he'll pause and go, wow, these guys are really heavy. And there's always a moment in every video where he listens, and then he goes. And I'm telling you, that is a perfect impression. You just have to find him now.
Okay.
And see it, but that's almost every video.
What's his name again? Or you think?
I think it's No Life Shack.
Oh my God.
And then there was one song that he played by Rush. Is it Lighted Stage? Where there's a moment where there's almost like a reggae kind of break in the middle of the song. And he just stops the video and goes, yo, man, these guys just turned Hawaiian. And it's just like, and I don't know.
That's brilliant.
I don't know how real it is that he's actually listening to this for the first time. Because I feel like there's just so much music that you just know about because it's so popular that I find it really hard to believe that there's anyone on the planet who loves music that's never heard Dream On. That blows me. Like I find it hard to believe that you never heard Dream On. So
that would be written by a woman who has never been married or in love. What's her name? Diane. What's her name?
Did she write that?
Yes, she wrote Dream On.
I thought she wrote Armageddon. I don't want to miss a thing. That's what she
Yeah,
wrote.
she did. Okay, you're right.
Yeah,
She's written like a billion hits. But
yeah.
okay, but okay, so you and I both haven't lived in Seattle for like 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
The homelessness is insane. Have you been there? I mean, it is crazy, like encampments and all that. But and what's going on right now? People are like, "I'm sorry to hear what's going on in your town." I'm like, it's Capitol Hill.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm like, and I don't mean it in a bad way, but I'm like, that's where the fringe has lived forever.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't surprise me. They're a bunch of hippies that are like, whatever. We own this 6-block radius. I don't know if Dick's Drive-In is part of that 6-block radius, but
ooh, that's a good
I got stories. That's where Sir Mix-a-Lot shot Posse's on Broadway, by the way.
On Broadway, and then Macklemore also shot a video out there.
Because he is from Capitol Hill.
Who, Macklemore?
Yes.
Oh,
I think he went to Evergreen, where my niece went, which is like the most liberal college in the world.
Really? Evergreen near Olympia?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of weed over there.
Oh, my niece has met some boyfriends in the woods. That's how liberal it is.
Really?
I'm like, dear God. I'm shaking up your cocktail, by the way. Sorry.
I love it. There's a lot of stories that have come out of there. And it's interesting that a lot of misinformation came out about that businesses were being asked to pay money for protection. The Seattle Police Department said that.
Really?
And then the Seattle Police Department backtracked and said, okay, there was misinformation, and they took that back. And it's incredibly peaceful. I don't know how it's going to end. I don't think it's going to end well, but it's incredibly peaceful. And
everyone's stoned in Seattle. Come on, like everything's legal.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Everything that's going on right now, from the coronavirus to all the people protesting and wanting change. It's all a brief period of time that we're going through. We'll get through it. It's a storm that we need to let go through. It's a storm we need to let pass, and we'll get through the other side, and we'll be okay. The only thing we can control is how we react to everything. And I've been pretty positive about it. I've just been calling friends and checking in and seeing how everybody's doing every day. And
look at you.
Yeah, Mr. Nice Guy. My last girlfriend, I remember her saying to me, we got in a big argument. She goes, well, I'm sorry, I've never dated anybody that's so in touch with their feelings. Just like that made us both laugh pretty hard.
Did you cry, or did she cry after that?
I didn't really. I've only cried. I love crying at movies.
Do you?
Oh my God, yes. Yeah.
Did you cry when you heard that Cops and Live PD have both been canceled?
Yes. That's my favorite goddamn show. Oh my God, Cops. I can actually point to an episode of Cops and say, that's the hardest I've ever laughed in my life. By the way, I can say it was the hardest because I had a physical reaction that I've never had before.
Which was, do I dare ask?
Well, let me tell you what. Let me paint the picture so I can let you know where I laughed. So
I just snorted.
That was good. So it's an episode that opens with this officer saying, "So we are responding to a domestic that took place in this field over here." Mm-hmm. So it's already hilarious because they can't afford a house to fight in. They're fighting in a field. So cop pulls up, gets out of his car, and takes his flashlight out. He goes, "Hey, what's going on over there?" And he walks up, and you see this a middle-aged black couple is in the middle of this field. They're having an argument. Cop rolls up. The woman turns around. Her mouth is covered in blood. Her top row of teeth are missing, and her bottom row of teeth are cracked. This guy just assaulted this woman. And the cop says, "What's going on?" And the woman starts telling everything, exactly what's going on. when the guy jumps in, and on camera, the guy jumps in and goes, wait, hold up. You better tell him the truth. I will knock you the fuck out on camera. He says that. And the cop goes, whoa, look, here. All right, miss, you sit on the hood of my car. All right, sir.
Oh, no.
And he's got his flashlight out and he goes, all right, you're so eager to tell me your side of the story. What's going on? And the guy goes, look, I ain't gonna lie. Because I push it. Yeah, I push it. Yeah, I push it. So what? I push it. But then she assaulted me. And the cop goes, she assaulted you? And he goes, she assaulted me. And the cop said, with what? And the guy went, her face, and I farted. I laughed so hard I farted. I laughed so hard.
He said that.
He said she assaulted me with her face, and every muscle in my body loosened up, and I blasted out a fart. I didn't even know it was possible to laugh so hard that you could actually fart from laughing so hard. And,
God.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I mean.
Yeah, it was truly the most amazing.
Oh my gosh!
My second favorite episode.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Go for
Second favorite episode was in Indianapolis. And by the way, every time I perform in Indianapolis, I always talk about this gentleman when I do press. And I say, if this man is out there, please tell him I would love to have him at my show. And I will give him as many. I want to meet this person. He is my hero.
Okay.
And the episode was, and it was a much older episode of Cops. They said, we're responding to a robbery. It's in Indianapolis. It's a robbery at a strip mall. They pull behind the strip mall. It's late at night. There is a white guy sitting on the sidewalk crying.
Okay.
He's 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", and he weighs maybe 200 pounds. He's just scrawny.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a lot of meat on his bones, and he's crying. And the cop pulls up and says, hey, are you the one who made the phone call? And he goes, yeah, I did. And they go, all right, sir, just tell us what happened. Just tell us what happened. And he goes, all right. I was locking up for work, and this gentleman came up to me, and he said, and forgive my language, but he said, give me your goddamn money. That's what he said. He said, give me your goddamn money. I said, sir, I don't want no problems from you, sir. And then that gentleman over there, he grabbed me from behind. They pan over, and there's a fucking guy in the parking lot. You know those concrete slabs that you bump your tires against when you're in a parking lot?
Yeah.
He's in between two of those, like sprawled out, and he goes, that guy grabbed me from behind, and I'm a 5th degree black belt, okay? So as soon as he touched me,
oh my God.
and he starts crying, and they go, sir, what happened? He goes, basically, I kicked the shit out of him. I didn't want to. I feel terrible. And they said, are you okay? And he said, I'm fine. I'm gonna need some new shoes. And they pan down. And this is very, very graphic, what I'm about to tell you.
Oh God, okay.
But they pan down, and this gentleman's sneakers are so saturated in blood that every time he shifts his body weight from his left foot to his right foot, his sneakers are squishing out blood.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because he made so much physical contact. I was on the edge of my bed with a glass of chocolate milk. And I was living with this girl that I dated for 6 years. I remember being on the edge of the bed going, oh, babe, look at this. Are you watching this? and she was reading a book, and she went, "I'm reading," and I was like, "Fucking bitch." This guy, like, I was so enamored with this guy because to me, he was the perfect man in terms of he was if if you fuck with him, he will hospitalize you. And then he'll feel terrible about it.
Yeah.
He'll cry and he'll feel terrible. But
Right?
you made him do that. You made the mistake of having to mess with this guy, and he just hospitalized you. I
Yeah.
love that. I
Well, I
absolutely
mean, you know, and I don't, I mean, I'm 5 foot, maybe not quite 3. I'm like 5'6" when I'm wearing my 3-inch heels, which I'm not. I'm wearing my slippers right now. Slippers, whatever. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I've only been sort of in one girl fight. It was in college, and some girl thought that I was messing around with her boyfriend. And I was like, it's not me. It's not me. It was somebody else from my sorority. And it got messy. And like fists started flying and stuff like that. I got scratched right there. And she found out later, like I came across her boyfriend going to another frat party, coming and going in college. And I said, I know who you are. I said, your girlfriend tried to kick my butt. And he's like, oh, my God, that was you. She feels so stupid, you know, because she found out it wasn't me.
Wow.
It wasn't me.
Ooh.
Like the song. It wasn't
Shaggy
me.
song.
Shaggy, yes. Shaggy's so cool. Have you met Shaggy?
No, but I saw him perform at one of the weirdest shows I've ever, probably quite possibly the weirdest show that's ever been put on. It was in 2001. I've never seen Michael Jackson perform, and Michael Jackson did 2 nights at Madison Square Garden, and a friend of mine was working on that show and got me in to watch from the soundboard, and it
Wow.
was a tribute to Michael Jackson.
Oh.
And Michael was there
Oh.
for the show, and everybody, it was a big tribute to himself, and that was actually the night that Whitney Houston sang, where everyone said, "What is Whitney Houston's?" Where she looked like a bad crackhead.
Crack is whack.
And Shaggy came out and performed, and it was all these people just saying, "Oh my God, Michael Jackson is the greatest person that ever lived, and he's such an amazing talent." And the Jackson 5 actually reunited at the end of the show. I think they did "I Want You Back" and ABC. It was it was amazing, but it was still weird. I remember one video package that rolled out was the narrator said, "Where does Michael get his otherworldly talent? We may not know in our lifetime." And I was like, "Wow, it seems like it's kind of over the top. Like it's." And he wore like this weird military outfit, and he
always did, yeah.
And he sat on the side of the stage, in the section of seats directly at stage left, and people would sing and then say, "Oh my God, Michael, you're amazing," and he was sitting with Macaulay Culkin and somebody else, and he just kept going. He just kept like, "Thank you so much for paying tribute to me." And then September 11th, and then September 11th happened. And then it was like, oh, ABC was about to put that show on in like late September. It was like, this is really inappropriate in today's world and everything that's going on in the world. It's kind of weird to put on a show about how great one person is. So they pushed it back for like, I think at least 6 or 12 months before they aired it, and it was one of the strangest things. But Shaggy performed on that show, so
he's a vet. He's a Gulf War vet.
Is he really, Shaggy?
He really is. And I don't know how old he is now, but I met him probably 20 years ago when I was working for Kiss FM in Seattle. We had our like summer concerts or whatever, and Shaggy was there. He's got his glasses. He's just a super cool guy. I like him.
I wonder if there's anybody. I wonder if there's any villages that got torn up by Shaggy and that they tried to yell at him and go, "You took my whole village." Wasn't me. Wasn't me.
I don't.
Wasn't me.
I mean, he's been. God bless him. He's made a career out of that one song. I'm just saying, it wasn't me.
That is an amazing song, though. There are some
amazing.
There are some one-hit wonders that their one hit is so extraordinary that it's just like
Well, when you work for a top 40 station like I did at Kiss FM in Seattle, you meet a lot of one-hit wonders. Macy Gray, remember her?
Yeah, of course.
Macy was the only person that I think I've ever interviewed that was high as a kite. And it was on the weekend. And she's a very tall, she's lovely, and she's got a very distinct sort of, I don't even know how to, I don't know how to mimic voices like you do. But she's got a very distinct voice, and I don't even remember what the song was that made her famous. But and she's had her troubles. But
yeah, a friend of mine that worked for the Red Hot Chili Peppers for like 15 years.
Yeah,
he was a guitar tech for the guy who was his name's John Frusciante. He was the guitarist for forever.
Super famous.
And then he came back to the band a year or so ago, or sometime in the last year.
Okay.
And he's a very eccentric guy. He's an artist, and he just lives. He just exists in a different way than everybody else. And my buddy was telling me about this funny conversation that he was in the room for, because he's setting up all the gear, and Macy Gray's in the studio to sing a track. And they're just kind of shooting the shit. And my buddy overhears Macy Gray say, "John, where do you live at? Like, what's your home?" And John goes, "Oh, I'm renting a place at Chateau Marmont." And she goes, "The Chateau Marmont? How much is that?" And he goes, "It's like $2,000 a night." And Macy Gray goes, "Baby, you got to get yourself a home. You could save yourself some money." And John Frusciante goes, "Yeah, but it's cool because fortunately I'm really rich." So, and Dave told me the story, and I was like, "Wow, that's a really funny story." And then I ran into Frusciante at a concert once in LA, and I said, "John, I know you. I'm Craig. I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm friends with your old tech." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I actually took John and Anthony Kiedis to go see Dave Chappelle one night at the."
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it was the first night back from Africa. Dave Chappelle wanted to talk about his experience.
How long did he go away? Do you remember? I remember when that happened.
I don't know, but I remember when he was on stage, he told the most amazing story about how he was trying to tell this African guy about his troubles. And he goes, "Yeah, man, I was telling this African dude, I said, 'Hey, man, $50 million, man, it makes you crazy.' And this African dude said, 'Yes, that is crazy. Yes, I also ate a dog today.'" But so I see
the hat today. My Jamaica One Love. It's like in Jamaica, they're like, "No problem, man. No problem. Only situations. No problem, man."
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Only situations. I love it.
I see Frusciante at this concert, and I go, "Oh my God, John, I have the funniest story about you." And he goes, "Oh yeah, what's that?" And I start telling the story. Have you ever told somebody a story where halfway through you're like, "Oh shit, I don't know if I should be telling you this story"? You ever had that moment?
Yeah, I mean, I might have told one earlier tonight, but yeah. Whatever. Alcohol.
And I'm telling him, I'm like, "Oh, I had this really funny story." And I'm like, "I guess apparently you were working on a track with Macy Gray." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I remember that." And I go, "Well, my friend, your friend, my friend." And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "He said he was in the room." And then I realized, oh shit, I don't know. This isn't really a flattering story. And then, so I tell him anyway. And I said, "And apparently you said, yeah, but it's cool because fortunately I'm really rich." And John looked at me and he went, "Oh my God, that's hilarious." And that was back then. I wasn't even anywhere near as rich as I am now. And I was like, wow. Yeah, it was.
And they haven't done anything forever. And to be honest with you, I mean, I'm, Red Hot Chili Peppers, whatever. I'm like, whatever. I remember being in the frat house. Again, lots of things go back to the frat house. And there was that picture. What was the album cover where I don't know if they're all wearing socks on their members or what.
Oh yeah. They used to do that on stage.
They what? They did
used
it
to do
on
that on stage. They would go on stage
Really?
and just wear socks. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
How does it, I mean, I have a question. How does it stay on?
I don't know. I've always wondered about that too, but never.
I mean, there's tape that the ladies use for the girls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't
I
know.
just have questions. I have questions.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it can't be that exciting, right?
Yeah.
I
I
just saw
know. To be on stage in front of 20,000 people with just
after a
yours.
while, does it just like everyday stuff?
That's just biology we're talking about. You are absolutely right, Corey.
Yeah.
I don't
Anyway,
know.
all right. So I've had you for an hour. I don't want to keep you. I know you got a life. Where are you? Are you in Chicago?
I'm actually in Connecticut.
Connecticut. Oh.
Yeah. How did Chicago play in? I don't know what the connection
Because
is.
that's the last time I saw you. I saw you at the radio boot camp.
Oh, that's right. At boot
That
camp.
girl.
Oh yeah. That's right. That's right.
Was that one of your girlfriends that was yelling at you for watching Cops?
That was that was my ex. That she lived in Chicago, and she was the one that got. What was the other argument I brought up earlier that she got mad about? She was the one who said, "I've never dated somebody who's so in touch with their feelings." Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No,
it's hard. It's just it's hard when you're you're in the public eye or whatever. It's like I'm clearly unsuccessful, but I'm fine with that. Actually, I'm like, oh, this whole pandemic and now the racial unrest and stuff. It's like it makes you realize if you are an introvert or an extrovert. And I'm like, I'm so happy to close the door and not see another human being for days on end. That I'm like, oh, I got booze, I got food, I'm good. I've got my provisions.
Have you had moments yet where late at night you think you have the coronavirus? Like you scare yourself into thinking you have it?
No, not yet. But I do think it's funny. And I think there's something in that for you to tell me how many people are experts and how many people have told us on social media. They're like, no, I had it. I had the Rona. I know I did. I mean, everyone's self-diagnosing everything these days. I'm like, okay. All right.
Can I tell you a really fucked up story, or do you have to go?
No, I don't have to go. I just don't want to keep you longer than you want to be here. I have to. And somebody, by the way, my friend Joe here wants to ask you about the Clearwater 10.
The Clearwater 10. Yeah. Oh my God. I did a show.
I almost forgot. Sorry, Joe. Okay. So so tell me about self-diagnosing.
The Clearwater 10 was someone said, "Oh, there's a place that does comedy. You'll love it." I didn't see the place before I got there, and it was really rapey. It was like a really weird venue, and I remember there was one girl that worked there. Just she said, "You're an actress or you're an actor?" She goes, "Yeah, I've done some acting." And her jaw was moving. And I was like, "Oh wow, that's great." But yeah, there was clearly some illegal activities going on in that bar. It was very, very strange. And then Steve-O from Jackass, of all people, showed up to hang out and do a surprise set in front of 10 people. It was amazing.
While you were there, yeah.
Yeah, but so I met a girl a couple months ago that I hit it off with, and we decided to get together in Vegas in early March. And so we hung out, and by the time we got to Vegas, there was already things about her that I was like, I don't. All right, let's just go. I'm already in this. We're gonna go. But she's already showing me parts of her personality that I'm like, I don't really enjoy having that.
Unstable.
Yeah, and so we go Vegas, and our first night there, I take her to a show.
Something big happening in Connecticut. Alert the media.
That was the crazy girl just driving by. Her own little crazy car. So she, the first night, I take her to a show, and my friend who runs I took her to go see Love from the Beatles.
Okay.
And my friend manages the theater, and then he comes up afterwards and he says, "Hey, guess who's in my other theater? Some musician friends of yours." And he doesn't say musician friends. He just says, this person, this person, this person are in my other theater. And he knows I'm friends with them. And I go, "Oh, no way. Let's go say hi to them." And the girl looks at me and says, "Oh, who was that?" And I started explaining to her, well, this guy is a musician. He's the singer for this band. And she goes, that's one of my favorite bands. And I go, yep. And his wife is this person. And she's really awesome. His best friend is in his name is this, and he's in this group, and the other guy's in this group. And she's like, oh my God. So we all go, and and they come out, they say hi, and I go, hey, this girl's, this is so and so, and they love me, so they love her. They're like, oh my God, how are you? Nice to meet you. And then a couple of us break off to go have a late night meal at this awesome place called the Pantry inside the Mirage. So we go to the Pantry, we sit down, and the most famous guy is gone. He left. And the other two people are talking to the girl, and they said, hey, are you coming with us on Monday? And she goes, coming to what? And they go, the most famous guy, Craig didn't tell you? He's having us over to his house on Monday night, and he's cooking us dinner. And I immediately jump in and go, oh, yeah, she's flying out on Monday. She can't go. And they go, oh, that's too bad. She goes, I didn't even know about this. And they go, oh my God, he has the biggest estate. He lives on a golf course, blah, blah. You got it. And she goes, oh. And I go, well, but she flies out early on Monday, so she can't go. And they said to her, change your flight. And I go, yeah, she can't. And I just try to change the conversation, whatever.
Yeah, that never works.
Go back to our hotel. By the way, she's staying in a room 2 or 3 doors down from me at the hotel. We're staying in separate rooms.
Oh, isn't that gentlemanly of you?
Yeah. And she actually requested that. I was totally okay with it. I was like,
yeah,
get it, no worries.
Did you still pay for it? I gotta know.
I did. Mm-hmm. And I'm not worried about, like, I'm not.
Right.
I'm already feeling weird about, so I'm not trying to have sex. I'm not,
You're there for the right reasons, and you're ready to give her a rose if it's real.
Well, I mean, it's really, I've already got one foot out, and I don't want to complicate things.
Right.
So
leave it to your friends to complicate.
So the next morning, I wake up, I turn on my computer, I look at my Facebook page, and she has posted, if this famous person, and she names it, asked you to change your flight so that you could come to his house for him to make you dinner on Monday, would you do it? And I saw that and went, and then I started reading the comments. Half of the comments said, I thought he was married. And I went, oh,
Lordy. And
I go, oh my God. And now it's like, all right, I'm just going to get through this weekend. I'm not going to try to have sex with her. We're going to this is.
Cut.
That's it. Cut. I go down to her room. She pulls me in her room. She starts making out with me. Things start happening.
You say, no, I don't want to make out with you.
I did nothing but have sex with her for the next 72 hours. It was horrible. I was like, why am I doing this? This is terrible. Like she threw it out, and I was like, oh, right. And then we did it over and over and over and over again.
Okay.
She leaves on Monday, and then on Wednesday, I fly to New York on Wednesday, the 11th of March. And she tried calling me while I was doing a radio interview and said, she called me twice and then texted, hey, call me. It's important. And I said, okay. And I thought, how could you be pregnant after 2 days? This makes no sense. I'm like, okay, all right. So
Craig, it can happen once. It just takes one. Just takes one.
I called her up and I go, hey, what's going on? She goes, this is not an easy conversation. But I know I have to do the right thing, and I have to tell you, I have to be transparent with you. And I said, okay. And she goes, I am calling you to tell you that I have the coronavirus.
Stop. When was this?
This was March 11th when she said this. And I said, okay. And she said, yeah. So I just want you to know I have the coronavirus. And I said, all right.
Good luck.
And I said, so how do you like how did you get a test? And she said, well, here's what happened. She said, when I got home, I started feeling like a sore throat. There was like a tickle in my throat and it wouldn't go away. So I called my doctor and I said, hey, I, can I come in and get tested for the coronavirus? And she said, no, it's really hard to get a test and we're only testing really sick people. So we cannot test you. And I said, well, it could be strep. So I might be contagious. And they said, all right, then come in. And they tested me for the flu and they tested me for strep and they both came back negative. So they told me, my doctor said to stay at home and quarantine for 14 days just to be safe. And I said, okay. So did your doctor tell you you have the coronavirus? She said, no. And I said, but you just told me you have the coronavirus. And she said, I have been told to quarantine myself in case I have the coronavirus. I said, I know, but you told me you have I understand, but nobody actually said you have the coronavirus. And she said, no, I got tested for strep and for the flu. And I said, okay, and I'm like, all right, okay. You told me you have the, okay.
Yeah.
So we're going back and forth over the semantics, and they finally go, all right, whatever. And I said, well, listen, there's something you might want to watch. There's a very interesting epidemiologist who was on the Joe Rogan show talking about the coronavirus. He had a lot of information, and I would recommend checking it out. An hour later, she posted on her Facebook a link to that show that I told her about, the Joe Rogan show, and said, everybody watch this. It's very important because, and I hate having to admit this publicly, I have the coronavirus. And everybody needs to watch this. And everybody starts asking her questions like, oh my God, how did you get a test? My mom is sick and I can't get a test. Or I'm trying to get a test and they won't let me. How did you get one? She said, well, I tested for strep and I tested for the flu. They both came back negative and I was told to quarantine. And it was 100 comments from people going, so nobody told you have the coronavirus? And she said, no, I was told to quarantine myself. And they're like, yeah, but you said you have the coronavirus. And yeah. And the crazy thing is that girl went on a very popular podcast to talk about being a survivor of the coronavirus.
I mean, shut up. Like,
yeah.
Are there like, I'm a coronavirus survivor t-shirts? Is there a movement or do I need to donate to somebody? Like, I pray to God, your family, my family, who is super susceptible, doesn't get it. I pray I don't get it because I don't want to be sick and I don't want like lung disease and all that other stuff. That's just crazy talk. People it is so funny to me, but I have some dear friends, a lot of people I know that are like, no, I had it. I had it in December. I had it in January. I had it in February. I had it. I know I had it. The doctor told me I had it. I'm like, well, how do you know? They just
it's
know.
Like after September 11th, you couldn't get a laugh in New York unless you talked about September 11th. And Colin Quinn had the best 9/11 joke. He said something about.
Really?
He said, "Do you have one of those friends who keeps trying to involve themselves in September 11th, even though they have nothing to do with September 11th? Like I have a friend who's like, if I was on the 3 train that day, I wouldn't even be here." It's like, really? Do you ever take the 3 train? No. But if I was that day,
right?
I wouldn't even be here. It's like, yeah. There are people that involve themselves in it. But she actually, there's more layers of what she said and then what she actually did that are just bananas. But yeah, that was a really unfortunate. And she was a nice girl. It's just she was a little nutty. And the thing is, I think you make a mistake early in your life of saying, all right, I'm going to let that slide. And then you keep going even though you see clear signs that somebody has problems, you like, I'll figure it out. We'll work through it.
I mean, happily medicated and happily single, whatever. I'm just saying. But that's the thing. So, I mean, but somebody like that, she's got to be following what you're doing. And so now that you're talking about her, you must have blocked her. You have to. Find out.
Yeah, she's out of my life. And, but I wish her well. I mean, I don't wish her, I wish her well. And I hope she's, and it was kind of unfortunate because when I first met her, I was really excited. Like, wow, this is really cool. I like her.
Yeah.
I'm attracted to her, and I started seeing some things early on that I was like, oh, that's weird. Oh, I don't like that about. Yeah. There's just something,
Well, that's the thing too. It's like, I haven't even bothered with Bumble. I mean, come on, during the Rona, I mean, you can't. I just saw some statistic that was like, how many people are starting to date again using social apps or even kiss their partner or whatever. I'm like, oh, I'm good. I mean, it so is. And like Bumble's in Atlanta, I can tell you it's useless because the traffic is usually so bad or historically so bad. The guys are like, so what area of town did you settle in? And I'm like, come on, man, like Dunwoody, Sandy Springs. And then you never hear from them again because, like I said, it takes an hour to go 10 miles all the time.
That's true. I do remember the last time I was in Atlanta that I had some issues with traffic. Last time I was there was just to do something with Shaquille O'Neal. Every time I go out there, Shaq always has me on his
Shaq
podcast.
Does?
Yeah, Shaq always has me on his podcast, and he and every time I come in, he just wants to pick up his phone and start calling his friends. Makes me prank call all of his friends.
Mm-hmm.
And man, that dude has a great sense of humor.
I know. He's. I think Shaq is sort of our modern day. I'm starting to slur. Pardon my slurring. I've had like 3 drinks. Shaq is sort of, I think, our modern day Muhammad Ali. He really is. He's so quick. He's so sharp. He's so funny. He's a great athlete.
Very positive. Funny. He's very much involved in the community. Man, that dude. The first time I hung out with him, I was obsessed with asking him questions about, like, I remember the first time I met him, and this is on his 100th episode of his podcast is when I first met him face to face. He bought me a plane ticket because I prank called him.
Yeah.
And he said, I want to meet this guy. A friend of mine is one of the producers of his podcast. So I come in and I just start asking him questions. And I said, what's the dumbest question you get as Shaquille O'Neal? And he said, am I Shaquille O'Neal? And I was like, really? People ask you if you're Shaquille O'Neal?
Like, how tall is he? 7'1"? Like, how tall is he?
7'2".
7'2".
I think he's 7'2", possibly a little taller. And I said, what do you say to them? And he said, nope. I was like, you tell them you're not Shaquille O'Neal? What do you say your name is? And he said,
yeah,
Tony. But I get that all the time.
I just spit out my cocktail.
That was I've been trying to go for a spit take ever since we started.
I mean, I know. And you have to do Pacino. Is it your fans demand, Joe demands like Pacino or something. Like he's an interesting guy. I mean, but that's the problem. My dad used to say, he goes, drugs are the Lord's way of letting you know you got too much money. By the way, my dad said that once. I've said that like 1 billion times.
Really?
And I don't know if Pacino, I don't think he does anything, but I don't know. But he's like, as soon as you got too much money and you're so famous like Pacino and you're so talented, you get a little crazy. And he's like dating like 25-year-olds. I mean.
Yeah, I did an impression of him on the Howard Stern show. Howard started giving me free reign to do whatever I wanted. And I started going from doing celebrity impressions, just doing bizarre takes on celebrity voices. And one of them was Al Pacino had twins.
He did. With what's her name?
Beverly D'Angelo.
Yes. That
He had twins with Billy Angelo, even though he was 7,300 years old. He had twins.
She had to be like in her at least 40s at that time.
Yeah, I think so. And so I said, wouldn't it be funny if we had one of the babies on the show as a guest? Because it's radio, it's all theater of the mind.
Right.
And we would do these regular segments where Howard would say, for those of you who don't know, Al Pacino just had twins, and we have one of the babies in the studio right now. And you're Al Pacino's baby. What do you like to do for fun?
What do I like to do for fun? I like to pee. I like to pee. I love to pee. My mother. All right, Beverly D'Angelo. Whenever she changes my diapers, I give her a quick squirt right in the face.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Oh.
And yeah, it was. There's more to that I'm actually censoring myself on, but
yeah.
And there's I love telling stories about people who I do impressions of. The first time I met Shaquille O'Neal, I said, "Man, this is so crazy. I've been so looking forward to hanging out with you because I feel like we're going to be friends." And by the way, I was on stage last night in Hollywood at the.
For real, you were last night in Hollywood?
No, I'm telling this to.
Oh, okay, okay.
When I met him a couple years ago in person, I said I was on stage last night in Hollywood, and I saw Adam Sandler at the club, and Adam Sandler did a joke about you, and I was like, oh man, I'm hanging out with that guy tomorrow night. And Shaquille O'Neal looked at me and went, "What's the joke?" And I went, "Oh, I don't think I should tell you the joke." And he said, "What's the joke?" And I went, well, according to Adam, and Adam Sandler told a joke where he said that he offered Shaquille O'Neal a role in the movie Grown Ups 2. I didn't know that. And he said when they were filming it at a college campus, and during a break in filming, Shaquille O'Neal said, "I'm going to go take a shower." And he walked off to go out by the locker rooms where the showers were. And Adam Sandler says, that's when I knew it was my chance. Like I can go see how big Shaquille O'Neal's dick is. And it's not gay. It's not gay. I want to be able to tell my kids, hey, your dad saw something amazing once. And so he tells this whole story about how he sneaks into the shower to try to get a look at Shaquille O'Neal's penis. And when he gets in the area, he hears the shower running. And then all of a sudden, Shaquille O'Neal's bodyguard pops up. Boom. And he's even bigger than Shaquille O'Neal. Big bald guy. He's like looking at him with one eye. And he said, he goes, "Oh, man, I'm sorry." And he runs back out to the set. And he's out there realizing, now I have to tell Shaquille O'Neal why I tried to sneak in the shower. And he's like, "Oh, man." Shaq comes out and he goes, "Hey, I know that you probably heard I was trying to get a look at you just to see your penis. And, but I'm sure your bodyguard told you about it." And Shaquille O'Neal said, "I don't have a bodyguard." I go, "Yeah, the big bald guy." He goes, "No, that was my penis." It's a long ways to go for a joke. Yeah,
I mean, but it was worth it. It was worth it. Yeah. Craig, thanks for hanging out. I mean, I miss you. I hope. I mean, I don't find myself in Connecticut very often. I don't know what you're doing in Connecticut.
Well, I adore you, and I will definitely be in Atlanta sometime in the next few months. So we're definitely going to hang out at some point.
If you need a Rona bug-free place to stay, I got it. What are the bugs? Bed bugs. Rona bed bug free. I did a bunch of it, like mattress endorsements years ago. I got like brand new mattresses.
Really? When you said what's the name of that Rona bug, I almost told you the name of the girl that I went out with a few months ago. I almost told you.
Don't do it. Don't do it. We don't need lawsuits. We don't need lawsuits. I mean, but yeah, I love you. I think you're the best. I think you are so funny and just Oh, you know, I don't find myself in Connecticut ever. Actually, I've never been. Well, been there once actually.
Yeah.
One time.
What happened?
In college, I went with a girlfriend that was a sorority sister of mine. I flew my grandmother back to Rhode Island, Providence, where she lived her whole life. And this friend lived in Connecticut. So we took the train into New York City on New Year's Eve. And I'm like, there are people drinking on this train. That's not legal. And sure enough, and then I remember being in the bar and I'm like, it's like 2 a.m. and people are still drinking. How is that possible?
Yeah.
And then I found myself accidentally making out with some guy that went to URI. I'm like, what is happening here? It's crazy stuff happens in New York City and on that train to New York City.
Better making out with a guy from URI than making out with somebody with a UTI. All right, there you go, everybody.
Amen, my brother. Amen. Woo. All right, what do you got going on this weekend? Did you do anything fun, or when is the public, the general public, going to be able to see you? Or
I have been doing corporate, private shows. Companies have been hiring me to perform for their employees. I've started doing some Zoom comedy shows. My first comedy show back in public is going to be in Florida, July 22nd to the 25th, I believe, in Port Charlotte, Florida.
Okay, where the Rays train.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they train in Port Charlotte now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, nobody's playing baseball just yet, and they're fighting over money, but that is now.
I did not know that. Well, so that's what's going to be going on in July. And then some dates are starting to trickle in and some dates are being rescheduled, but just hit all my social media up. Instagram at Craig Gass Comedy, 2 S's. Same for Twitter at Craig Gass Comedy with 2 S's. And thanks for having me on. That was fun.
I know. Let me know when you're in Atlanta. 100%. I'll come out, mask on or off, whatever. I will be there.
Here's what I want you to do.
Okay.
Text me in 2 hours. I want to know where this all leads. 2 hours. All your day drinking is the beginning of something terrible that happens in 2 hours. That's what I want to know.
I don't drunk text anybody. I don't. And I had Pilates this morning and I have Pilates tomorrow morning at 10:30. It was a little rough this morning. It's going to be rough tomorrow. And I'm on the radio tomorrow too. So
what time are you on?
I think it's 11 to 3 tomorrow.
Okay.
Newcountry1015.com.
Okay.
My new station. So anyway, I love you and I have a wonderful weekend and thank you for joining me. You're the best.
Thank you. I adore you. I'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Right,
Take care.
Bye-bye.